What's going on, Drinking Boys? Brand new podcast coming right at you, but you know what we got to do first. We got to talk about those things that generate a little revenue for the show. First and foremost, we are brought to you by the Patreon at patreon.com/MattSlayer. Please come support the Patreon for as little as $3 a month, less than the cost of a beer. You can support this show, help bring booze and the show to you. Well, booze to me, the show to you, week after week after week after week, for just a touch more or a little bit more. You can get the video versions ad-free and uncensored a week early. You can get the audio versions ad-free, and there's a bunch of exclusive content on the Patreon. So go to patreon.com/MattSlayer today. Support the show. What are you waiting for? Also, we are brought to you by the merch store at anwt.net/merch. Cover your shame in my wares. Buy a hat. Buy a shirt. Tell the world you're a drinking buddy. Pick up some merch today. Once again, at anwt.net/merch. Last but certainly not least, the absolute easiest way to support the show is twofold. Signal boost, interact with social media posts, share posts, tell your friends. Just let more people know about the show. The other super easy way to support the show is go to youtube.com/nowwedrink and subscribe. Brings more drinking buddies to the party. All right, let's get on with it. My guest this week, making his triumphant return to the show, is the one and only, the fetish director himself, Mr. Jimmy Broadway. Jimmy and I talk about all sorts of stuff. Some true crime stuff, the state of the industry. We geek out on some film stuff. Definitely not your typical episode, so sit back, relax, pop a cold one, and enjoy, drinking buddies.
When aliens come to take over, they look at us like we're out of our minds now. We're gonna galactic makeover, and now we're thinking that they just might be right. I cannot wait for this whole world to end. I'm gonna break out the bottle with my friends. I think they'll tell the best stories when we're gone. And now we drink.
Hopefully we actually start the recording. Podcast, it's really helpful to do that.
We spoke for 3 hours and we didn't get any of it.
I haven't done that in a while. Are you already poured yourself some? Yeah.
Forget to record over it, lose the card.
I had 2 episodes have the video get corrupted on the guest camera because the SD card went bad. That was fun. Absolutely, just all of a sudden, just artifacting like it's a VHS.
Ooh,
Just
old school.
Yeah, it's like, okay, it recorded technically.
We actually had that discussion on the XBiz board a couple of weeks ago about how kids today never have to deal with the tracking.
Oh, God.
And of course, half the people on the board were like, what's the tracking?
Crazy to think, like, the first thought that comes to my mind is like, are you old enough to be doing porn? And it's like, oh, yeah, no, you're
Yes, they are at this point, which is a little frightening.
born post 9/11.
Yep.
And more than it's like, what the fuck? We're old. Cheers.
As I tell half my co-stars, I am old enough to be your grandfather. Would you like a Werther's?
Yeah, it was all fun and games playing people's fathers till it was like, oh yeah, I can actually have fathered you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a hard mindset.
Yeah, it's when you're old enough to be the father of the MILFs.
Yeah, that's not there yet, but I will be there soon.
How old are you?
44 as of Sunday, so I'm like 43. Oh, my birthday was Sunday.
60 in August.
Shit, man. Well, I hope to look as good as you are at 60. Shit.
It's all this clean living.
Well, I'm assuming at least some of it is not being hung up on society's bullshit with what you enjoy in life.
Yes.
Because my hypothesis on all of this is it's the stress that actually kills you, not really your lifestyle choices.
To a certain degree.
Whoa, for sure. But every one of these motherfuckers who lives to be well past 100 is like, I smoke a pack of Reds a day, drink like a fish, have to have my Dr. Pepper, and eat a pound of bacon. I think they're just not giving a fuck, and that's how they're surviving.
Yeah, but the guys who are doing half a key of blow a week.
Yeah, I don't really equate cocaine as a not being stressed out drug.
No, but it's not exactly the healthy choice.
True.
Have we just sort of rolled right into the podcast at this point?
Oh,
Or?
yeah.
All right.
That's what the clap was.
I didn't know if there was some sort of, hi, and welcome to And Now We Drink.
Fuck no.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think you've ever done the show where I've done a formal intro with the guest while they're sitting here.
I can't remember. It's been a little while.
Yeah, I know. It's been a hot minute, and then we had, unfortunately, the technical difficulties with the one we did remotely during the pandy.
I didn't know there were technical difficulties with that.
Yeah, I ended up having to release it audio only because
the
video went way out of sync for some reason. And
yeah, sync is a problem.
yeah, let's say we had to watch this like we were poorly dubbed. I don't know why that happened. Like, I'd done so many Zoom call OBS ones during the pandemic, and for whatever reason, like, ours just could not sync up. I'm just like, why? Why is the audio just floating out of sync within minutes? Horrible.
Now you record your audio to an external recorder, and you record your video to the two cameras.
Well, this was the one of the Zoom. This was on Zoom.
Okay.
All our in-person ones went flawlessly.
Okay.
It was some latency with Zoom.
Just something in Zoom.
Yeah, some latency in Zoom on that one in particular. Is just like, what is happening here?
It's amazing that Zoom is actually now considered a legitimate broadcast video source.
Oof. It's horrible.
I know. You used to have to roll out a satellite truck and bring in a camera crew, and it's completely changed the whole live remote business.
Now you just need OBS and Zoom.
Yeah. They just fire up the laptop and
Hell, you can throw down like a Blackmagic ATEM Mini, and you got to do camera switching on the fly.
actually bought Dee one of those during the pandemic because she wanted to use our cameras as webcams. And it was great because she realized, because I was just looking at encoding devices, and for the same money on eBay, I could get the smallest ATEM, which is, for those who don't know what an ATEM switcher is, it's a little 4-input switcher, HDMI ins. But it's nice. It's very effective. And it's designed to encode to web, among other things. So she realized very quickly that she could set a second camera up on it, pointing at one of the dogs or a plant or out the window. And whenever she didn't want to be on camera, but didn't want to be rude and just completely walk off the call, she'd punch up a different source.
It's the way to handle it.
Yeah.
So how the hell you been? Since it has been a minute.
Well, it's been a minute since I've been on the show, but we just saw each other last month.
Well, yeah. Well, but I want to get the audience up to speed.
Bring the audience up to speed. Yes, I've been well. Things are cranking along.
What's been going on?
Oh, we're still shooting. We're about to relaunch our website. Had some banking issues with our previous site, as pretty much anybody who's been in the business for an extended period of time will run into at some point.
Oh, for sure. What do you think about the trend of sites taking crypto?
My feeling on crypto and adult is, until you can walk into a 7-Eleven and buy a 6-pack and a bag of Doritos with crypto, it's not going to be a primary fund payment source. I mean, there will always be the fringe people who, the crypto bros and everything. But until it becomes common enough that you're buying, snacks and drinks with it casually, it's just that, because remember, most adult content is an impulse buy. There's some fans out there that either hear about a scene coming up or who are just huge fans of a particular performer or studio. And they just, when stuff comes out, they buy it because it was released by that performer or studio. But the majority of people out there who are paying for, and even the ones who aren't paying for it, damn you bastards, just stumble around until they find something that goes, yes! And that's what they watch. Because that's the thing that's hitting the button at that particular moment in their life. They don't want to go through a bunch of, which is why the whole age verification thing is such a nightmare. It's because it takes time time to go through the process before you can access the material.
And people have lost their erection by then.
Exactly. Or they've just gotten frustrated with the whole thing and said, I'm going to go over to, the dark web and
Or just go to fucking Twitter.
yeah, just go somewhere where they don't have to jump through these hoops and they can get instant gratification. Because, I mean, right now in our society, instant gratification is not fast enough.
Oh, I know. It's wild.
You almost have to be anticipatory gratification. You have to deliver something the second before the viewer knows they want it.
Oh, it's insane. And the expectation from these people is insane.
Oh, yeah.
I had a dude on my Patreon bitch about something. And because I didn't respond to him within 6 hours, start going to my YouTube channel, calling me a scammer on random videos. Dog, I was asleep.
Yeah.
I know I may look like I'm a machine and I don't need rest, but I was asleep.
We do realize you're in Norway and there is a time difference, but
Yeah, it was just insane. Just multiple posts of this dude's a scammer. And it was all over Nina L's tits.
okay.
Her uncensored version of the podcast had her topless in it. And I think I had released it as a freebie on Pornhub. And the dude came to Patreon
Okay.
to see the uncensored version and then found that it was the same uncensored version and flipped his shit.
Wait, so you had the same thing on Pornhub and Patreon?
Yeah, I was using it as a teaser to go to Patreon.
Okay.
And he was flipped out. It's just the same concept as like sometimes browsers will release a full scene on the fucking hub.
Yeah, but remember, Brazzers owns the hub.
It's true.
So
I'm using it for the same way.
So they're making money either way.
Well, the way I look at it is like I can put out an occasional episode that has nudity on it on the hub as marketing.
Yes.
And if you come to the Patreon, there's still hundreds of other episodes. It's not like, oh, this was the one scene you bought. It's like, yes, your monthly membership gets you a lot of other content.
Mhm.
It's just utterly insane.
Yes.
The whole situation was utterly insane. But back to the crypto thing real quick. You actually can, with some banks, use your crypto on a debit card. It's a bad idea. It's a horrible idea. Like as you check out, will automatically convert to USD.
Okay.
But because of the volatility in Bitcoin,
Exactly.
it's just like, well, I just paid $20 for that candy bar. Shit. Shit.
That's the whole thing with crypto is it's not a stable instrument. So, say you're paying a performer, and just for the sake of argument, because these numbers are way off what people actually make in this business, but say you're paying a performer $100 and you pay them in Bitcoin, and it takes them 3 days to convert the Bitcoin into US dollars. And during that time, the price of Bitcoin goes down 20%. Well, all of a sudden they've just gotten paid $80 and they're pissed off.
Oh, it's even worse than that, because even if it doesn't go down, say it stays the 100, you have to spend, Ethereum, Bitcoin, whatever, in gas fees to move it wallets. So you have to, unless they give you a wallet address that was directly to an exchange, which you should definitely never leave your currency on the exchange unless you're looking to liquidate it.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have to spend BTC in gas to move it from your personal wallet to your exchange wallet, then sell it.
Yeah.
Which, would be some off the top as well.
It's just not a convenient way to. I see it as and I don't necessarily agree with it as an investment either, because it's not tied to anything.
Oh, it's a speculation. It's a gamble.
You speculate on, corn futures. You're gambling that either the price of corn is going to go up or the price of corn is going to go down. And there are reasons why the prices go up or down. Demand, weather, someone needs it for ethanol, whatever. There are a whole lot of reasons. There's no reason why Bitcoin goes up and down other than just that's what people want to do today.
It is. Or someone some influencer talks about it and talks about a position. Generally, that happens with smaller meme coins and shit like that. And the real reason Bitcoin keeps going up is it's harder and harder to mine it.
Mm-hmm.
So it is becoming, there's a more of a scarcity of it, which does raise the value of it. The exact science of how scarce it really is, because they have forked the blockchain a couple times. And
I like tangible assets.
no, I totally get that. I was a little deep into crypto like 8 years ago. I thought it was a neat. Hell, no, I just was trying to make money.
Yeah.
I thought it was novel, and I was just like, oh, this is a way I can make money. And boy, I kind of wish I was still holding on to my fucking Bitcoin.
Yeah, but I mean, I know people who have lost the flash drive.
I have a buddy who has 2 whole coins somewhere on a USB drive and lost it.
Yeah.
It's like fucking $200,000. Just
how many drives have you had just become unreadable over the years with video content on them?
Oh, it happens. Well, the trick about it is if you have your recovery phrase, you don't actually need the actual USB drive.
Okay.
But you still have to have the 12-word recovery phrase somewhere. And then be able to restore it from that.
Yeah.
It's a whole to-do. And I understand the security of it.
Mm-hmm.
If you misplace a flash drive, how likely are you to keep a 12-phrase fucking recovery?
Exactly.
It seems to be the only way some companies have decided that they can get around Visa and MasterCard's bullshit banking.
I'm waiting for somebody just to come up and say, it's time for a new credit card.
The problem with that is, what's the financial incentive for someone to start a new credit card that won't be widely accepted? Like, Diners Club is gone. If it's not widely accepted, why would anyone take it?
Well, you need to come up with a reason for it to become wildly accepted. Whether it's the benefits involved in it or what you're able to buy with it, or just whether it works as a global currency.
Yeah, I don't know. Because we have Visa, MasterCard, Amex, Discover. Those are the 4. Those are the 4. Discover and Amex definitely aren't taken everywhere.
And then, of course, there's some of the smaller one. There's, what is it, JBC? It's a European one that's big over there, but nobody takes it over here. And of course, diners and
it's a JBC is a Japanese payment brand and credit and debit cards.
Yeah.
They're accepted in the US through a partnership through Discover, and then they have partnerships with Amex in Canada, Australia, and New Zealand.
Okay.
What, is Diners Club still a thing?
I don't know.
Holy shit, Diners Club is technically still a thing. Diners Club International celebrating 75 years of exclusive. Like, I didn't know anyone still had a fucking Diners Club.
Yeah, they canceled me years ago.
Why did they cancel you over?
They weren't real happy with my payment patterns.
Well, that's, unfortunately, sometimes the credit card's the last thing that has to get paid when it's like, my electric bill or the credit card?
Well, the thing is, back then it wasn't like a regular credit, the normal, like a Visa MasterCard where you can run a balance over it. They expected you to pay it off every month.
Oh, it was a charge card.
Yeah, it was a charge card.
Like Amex.
Right.
Yeah, Amex offers credit card products now, but
yeah,
the higher end Amexes are charge cards. They want that motherfucking balance cleared. Mm-hmm. I wonder what Diners Club's policy is on porn.
I don't know.
We could bring back the Diners Club card.
Hey, if people discovered that, Diners Club was okay with being used for adult content, I think it would make a resurgence. I don't think it would be what it was back in the day.
No.
But I think it would become a lot more popular.
Something someone should look into is just like, once popular, I'm pretty sure Amex won't touch it.
No, they're worse than Visa and MasterCard.
Yeah. Oh, maybe.
Is Carte Blanche still around?
Don't know. I don't even know what that is.
That was another one back in my youth.
Oh, it's a card from Diners Club.
Oh, okay. So at some point they merged.
Yep.
Because they used to be separate cards.
Yeah, Diners Club, the Carte Blanche card for professional card members. Yep.
Professional card members. Okay. What do you do for a living? I spend money with credit cards.
I've met a couple of those girls.
So have I.
There's got to be a real solution for the banking problem at some point.
I think the real solution is going to come through anti-discrimination laws. And it's not going to come because of the adult industry. It's going to come because of a number of industries, and the adult industry will just benefit from it.
Well, who else are they really discriminating against?
Depending on the state, marijuana.
Yeah, but the problem is there's still a federal prohibition there.
Right.
Unless the federal prohibition goes away, no one's going to ever rule against them on that.
And I think firearms could become an issue.
Possibly. I don't know. I've never had any problems buying a firearm with a card.
But that's not to say that it's because if you look at the way Visa and MasterCard have reacted to the adult industry, it's not out of the realm of possibilities that somebody could get them to take a stance like that against the gun industry.
I feel like the gun industry on paper kind of aligns with their morals.
Yeah, but there's just too many kids getting shot.
And that's prevented nothing in America.
True. But at some point, because all it takes is one high-level executive. It doesn't have to be a vote of all the cardholders or all the employees. It's one guy with a C-suite title who says, we're not going to do this anymore, and rams that down the throat of the company.
It's true. I mean,
so if an executive vice president of Visa's, twin daughters get shot in a school shooting, all of a sudden that opinion of Visa could change very, very rapidly.
Very true. According to a quick Google search,
okay,
each year 15,343 people are victims of a firearm homicide. Each year, 992 children. Those seem low. That seems as fucked up as it is. That seems like a low number out of 15,000.
Yeah.
Age 0 to 17 are victims of firearm homicide. And that's from BradyUnited.org. That seems really low out of 15,000 people dead by firearms. That less than 1,000 are kids.
Yeah.
Way to bring it way down, Matt. Way down. Only 1,000 dead kids. Those are rookie numbers.
That's enough.
Is it?
It's a manageable number.
I mean, it's one answer to the abortion crisis. Well, if you can't get an abortion,
Send them to public school.
Just stay late. It'll be fine. That's horrible.
Yes.
Just don't breed.
And I don't quite understand the whole fascination with the birth rate. And it's like, our planet's fucked up as it is. We got too many people. Stop making people.
Until there's more automation, you need people to, exploit for wages.
Yes, but if you don't have the people, then you develop the automation. There's no incentive. It's cheaper to hire a day laborer than it is to build a robot.
For now.
When that pivots,
then they'll be giving away vasectomies.
You get a vasectomy. Thank you, Oprah.
Just reach under your chair and vasectomy. Oh, okay.
It's when your chair reaches under you.
Whew. It wasn't that bad. Unfortunately, I don't think the credit card companies are going to do shit about guns anytime soon. I just don't. There's so much money in the firearms lobby too. That's our biggest problem. We only have one lobbying group, and they're only so funded.
Right.
We don't have a giant membership organization. That's what we should do. You have to, the NRA has members and people paying dues and all that shit. ALO or whatever should be like, oh, when you sign up for a paid account on Brazzers, whatever, you're now part of our organization.
Okay.
And then when our lobbyists go, oh, we represent this many millions of people.
I wonder if you could bundle an but see, our lobbying organization doesn't take non-industry members. They take non-industry support, but not membership.
Well, that's an overall problem because now you're only representing the creators, which we definitely need representation, but the NRA ostensibly is the lobbying group for firearms manufacturers.
Right.
But they take membership for anyone who wants to own a gun and be a member.
Yeah, but they provide services to people who...
Okay, so we create some services. Get your FSC lube. I don't know.
Yeah. We should talk to them. See what they come up with.
Just give them the pitch. Like, so, maybe just have another wing for the horny dudes and ladies out there, or whatever you identify as, that want to, support pornography. Because if you had to opt out to become a member of the trade organization when you sign up for a paid account, people are lazy, as we discussed earlier.
Oh, yes.
So they wouldn't opt out. And all of a sudden, the industry's trade orgs have millions of members. You'd think that might have some leveraging power with politicians at that point. Like, instead of our lobbyists be like, we represent maybe 1,000 people, like on the high end.
I think the number is higher than that. But
that are actually FSC members?
Oh, that are actually members? Yes. It's probably around.
The FSC is definitely representing people that are not actively supporting them.
Now, do your viewers know what the FSC is?
Maybe. The Free Speech Coalition is the lobbying body for the adult entertainment industry. Originally founded to lobby for producers and agents, if I understand correctly.
They were originally founded to fight obscenity prosecutions.
Right.
And they, since then, have expanded into things like banking discrimination, age verification, and other issues.
Condom laws,
anything that affects our industry. And they do an excellent job with very little resources. And I wish I knew what their website was off the top of my head, but I don't. But look them up. You can't join if you're not part of the industry, but you can donate to them, and that would be a wonderful thing.
That's what I'm saying. I think we're fucking up by not allowing the perverts to just join.
Yeah, but once they join, they get a vote, and I think their goals might not be aligned with what's best for the industry. Nothing against the perverts. I love you people.
Okay, this is what you get for an NRA membership. Defense of gun rights first. So defense of pornographers' rights.
Okay.
Would be what we put in there in exchange. The NRA advocates for your Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. The Free Speech Coalition advocates for your rights for your First Amendment protected.
To purchase and view pornography.
Correct. Publication. You get a subscription to American Rifleman, American Hunter, Shooting Illustrated, or America's First Freedom. Okay. So they start putting out a magazine. Discounts. You get special savings from NRA partners. Fucking get a built-in discount code for the pervert FFC members to the major sites. Like, we would get so much membership drive right there.
Yeah. Or just lube.
Yeah. Just lube. Insurance. You can purchase property or liability, life, health, and accidental plans through the NRA. So I know the FFC is planning to open a credit union. So they may be able to offer insurance products at some point down the road. Can you imagine your home insurance provided by the FFC? I just got this vision of a very hot adjuster and like
I was just thinking life insurance. We're sorry for your loss. Here's a check from porn.
But come on, imagine you get an assessment on your home from porn. Like you have like some very milfy like adjuster show up in like a very tight outfit.
We could shoot this. We know some people,
right? Educational programs. You can access the NRA's educational programs and materials. I'm sure the FSC could create some educational programs.
Well, the school systems certainly aren't.
Right. Well, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be educational about actual sex. It could be educational about how pornography works.
I think the biggest benefit would be just sexual health. There's so many people out there that really need to learn that.
Oh, I know. Show admission. You get free admission to the NRA's Guns, Gears, and Outfitters show. So you could have a members-only trade show. I don't know why no one in our industry is doing fundraising like this. Like, this started off as a bit about 10 minutes ago, and now I'm looking into it like, seriously, why is no one doing this?
I think you need to write up a proposal.
I don't know how to write. Fuck.
Just use speech to text.
And then there's things like the NRA Travel Center. You could save up to 65% on lodgings worldwide. Like, if there were enough members in the FFC, they could leverage shit like this.
Yeah, but the whole lodging, there'd be expectations.
You just got to temper them.
Yeah, my room didn't come with the two twins I was expecting.
But it came with a giant bottle of lube.
And free porn on the TV.
But seriously, like, the NRA members' benefits aren't that expansive. They're not. This is all things that a trade group could be doing for the industry, and it could generate a lot of fucking money.
Mm-hmm.
Just the idea of effectively an AVN that is only for members of the organization.
Yeah.
That could be pretty well attended. That could be worth the price of admission just there for someone's annual membership.
Depending on the price point, yeah.
I mean, depending on how they work it, yeah. Obviously, they'd have to crunch numbers and all that shit, but that would bring out booths from big companies and shit like that, because these are the people that are serious enough about pornography to be a member.
Right.
Hell, I'd be much more interested in having a booth there than an X3 or an Exotica, because sometimes people just go to those for the novelty of it. They're just like, oh, hey, that's in town. That'd be something fun to check out.
Well, I think a lot of the people that attend those shows are not paying consumers of content.
Right. This would be bringing out the people that are serious enough to pay for it.
Yes.
Okay, maybe I do have to write something.
I think it definitely merits further exploration.
Yeah. The FSC is going to be like, what? What are you fucking proposing?
You guys were sitting in your living room drinking and you came up with this?
It will not be the first or last time I've come up with a good idea on the show and just given it away to the internet.
There you go.
It does happen quite a bit. It's like I pitch just dumb ideas that come into my head in the middle of the show. Like the episode that aired today, I pitched, well, no, it was her idea, but she was just coming up with it. Like, why aren't you actually doing it? It was finding male inmates as pen pals and then filming their first sexual encounter the minute they get out of prison.
Okay.
And turning it into content. The prison to pussy pipeline. I thought it was a novel concept for a series.
It's got some potential.
It got some risk to it, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
I think that should be reserved for nonviolent offenders.
Yeah, there would definitely have to be testing involved.
Well, of course. Again, they test you before you go into prison.
Yeah, but it's what goes on while you're there.
Fair. Well, yeah, we just give away ideas. Give away ideas on this show. But I'm a completely tangent.
Okay.
What have you been working on? Like, I'm just pitching ideas here, and it's just like, what have you been working on, Mr. Broadway? Jeez.
Oh, we're about to launch 2 stores on AP Clips.
Nice.
One will be dedicated solely to me, which is kind of cool. The other one will be a little more general that D is curating. Like I said, we've been working on relaunching our website. And after taking some time off, we're getting ready to start shooting again. So we got to come up with some ideas and some people to execute those ideas.
Couple convicts, yeah.
I did actually shoot a scene years and years ago with a gentleman who did have an ankle bracelet.
Oh my God, is anklebracelets.com taken?
Or ankle monitor, I guess. It wasn't really a bracelet. It was and it was strictly because the producer thought it would be hilarious to have the bull in a cuckold scene wearing an actual state-issued ankle monitor.
Holy shit. Anklemonitor.com is a $55,000 website for sale. Too rich for my blood.
Something tells me that they're not going after the porn market. They're going after another angle on that.
Some retailer or...
Yeah, either someone who sells ankle monitors or who teaches you how to remove them or...
KinkyAnkleMonitor.com is available, though. With your own site, what are you going to be doing? What's the content there?
I mean, we're going to be sticking a lot with what we've been doing that's been working very well for us. Stepdad Gets Fucked will continue. Kinky Cuckold will continue. Perversion and Punishment will continue. I'm trying to talk Dee into shooting Revenge of the Housewives again. It was an old Severe Society series. We did 3 of them. We did 1 as a Severe Sex, but we haven't really done it in a long time. And it was a good series.
Why the delay?
People have to remember we're a 2-person company. We're not Adult Time. We're not, Brazzers. We do not have a staff of 30 writers and 25 editors and 16 producers and directors out there cranking out content for it.
You haven't taught the dogs how to write yet?
We're just trying to teach them to stop taking things off the counter and dragging them out back and chewing them.
Your writing staff needs to be housebroken.
No, they are housebroken. They're very good about that. It's just, especially Stanley is a chewer. We think it comes from his time living on the street, but he likes to take, and for those of you who are not familiar with our dog Stanley, he is a 97-pound American Staffordshire German Shepherd Husky mix. He is big, strong, smart, and mischievous. He likes to take things off the counter, but he knows he's not supposed to take things off the counter. So as soon as he takes something off the counter, he quickly runs out back and chews on it out there. And he's got a spot in the yard where he chews on things. And it's a spot that I can see from the balcony in the bedroom. So I wake up in the morning, I look out the bedroom window and I look down at the spot and see, oh, there's a empty can of chili. Oh, there is a full but very dented can of sardines. There is an 8-inch cooking knife. He likes knives. It's really frightening.
That feels very B-movie-ish, like just dogs running around with knives in their mouths.
Well, I mean, he was a street dog for a while, so you pick things up. He got a box of aluminum foil. We found the roll, but the box was gone. Remember, aluminum foil has that serrated metal cutter. We have no idea what happened to that. I'm hoping I find it under a shrub this summer when I'm raking or something. But he has a very strong digestive tract.
Hopefully, you don't have to pull it out of.
No.
Ugh. Just covered in poop.
Yes.
Ugh.
Okay, enough on that subject.
Oh. No, I understand. Like, you guys are a smaller studio.
Yeah. So, I mean, we can only shoot so much in a year. I really wish we could shoot twice as much as we shoot now. But
turns. Go over to UNLV. Be like, hey, you want to work in film?
It's not so much. It's the production time. It's the post-production time. It's the production budgets.
Interns. All of it interns.
All of it. Yeah, but you can't really get intern talent.
No, but you can. Well, as immoral as it is, you can call it a content trade.
And we do a fair amount of content trade with other performers because there is a need. If you've got a loyal fans or your own membership site or your own platforms, you need content too, and we provide edited content to the people we shoot with. So,
well, that's the important part. The edited.
Yes. Well, what a lot of people don't realize is we don't. Most porn is shot with a single camera.
For the most part, yeah.
We shoot with 3.
Yeah, which is the way to go because then you have coverage.
Yeah. So it's a wide shot and two ISOs, and that started because of my experience in mainstream live event production and directing that, where it's always multi-camera.
Well, it's just a better way to go about things.
Right. But it adds cost.
Yeah. Yes.
You've got to own 3 cameras. You've got to have at least 2 operators.
Or you could do like some people and have 5 cameras on tripods.
Yeah, but you still got to buy those 5 cameras.
I've definitely edited for some people that is like, oh, those are 5 old iPhones on tripods.
Okay.
It's a thing. Nothing's more comical, though, when you can see no penetration on 5 cameras.
Exactly.
It's like, what the fuck is happening here?
Good camera work involves movement.
It does.
You have to position yourself. And if that position isn't working, then you have to reposition yourself.
A lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah.
A lot of people are just like, oh, we're going to fuck in front of this camera on a tripod
Mm-hmm.
and hope for the best.
Yeah. Because, I mean, we have 1 camera on a tripod. And that's because a lot of times it isn't manned. Sometimes it is. It depends on who we've got on set that day. But it's also for stability. Your tripod camera is very rarely going to be shaky.
Right.
So you've always got a well-framed, stable shot that you can cut to when the other 2 cameras are moving around. But most people don't know how to edit 3 camera. They don't know what to do with that much content and how to put it on timelines and get it all synced up. And then take out the stuff you need, and then you start by taking out all the stuff that's bad. All the shaky stuff, the movement, this getting into position, moving on to your next position, finding focus, all that. So you cut out all the unusable stuff, when there's somebody else in your camera shot, all that kind of stuff.
See, I just put it all on one multi-camera timeline, and then I'll just select angles.
Right. But you start the selection process. Once you put it on a multi-camera timeline, you start the selection process by eliminating everything that's not usable.
Oh, for sure.
And then that makes your choices, in some cases, it makes your choice
only one choice.
Only one choice. But in other cases, it makes your choice is a lot easier because you might have 2. Sometimes you've got all 3 that are good. And it just speeds up the process rather than having to go through the whole thing and pick every second which of the 3 shots you want.
Oh, for sure. And it makes life easier than having a single camera because it's like, well, if this is out of position, even if you had an actual operator, I'm just putting a cross dissolve or a jump cut here.
Mm-hmm.
Those are my choices if there's 1 camera.
Right.
Maybe I will give the illusion of a camera angle change and punch in on it, but otherwise there's not much to do with it.
Well, that's the other thing. We shoot everything in 6K, but release in 4K. So you can do a lot of repositioning in the editing process to eliminate somebody's foot, the mic coming in from overhead, a light stand coming in from the edge.
Are you shooting on a Blackmagic, sir?
Yes. Pocket Cinema 6Ks. Very nice cameras.
Yeah. The only beef I ever had with them, the reason I never went with them is like the autofocus is not up to snuff compared to a lot of other modern cameras these days.
It's not bad. It kind of depends on your lenses too.
Well, yeah, it's if you got, what is it, first party EF will actually autofocus properly.
I mean, we've got two Canon lenses and 2 Sigma lenses, and they seem to do very well with the autofocus.
From what I'm like, I've barely played with them. From what I understand, you actually have to like tap the autofocus. It's like an older Canon where it's just not like these Sonys will hunt for the fucking autofocus.
Yeah, I don't like that though, because if it hunts for autofocus, sometimes it hunts when you don't want it to hunt. There are times when you want something that might not be the obvious choice to be the thing that's in focus.
True. Well, I mean, that's the whole reason people shoot with manual cine lenses too.
Oh yeah. I mean, my biggest complaint about the Blackmagics is it does, because we were Panasonic before we went Blackmagic, and the Panasonics gave you your distance. So it told you how far it thought you were from
the
subject. And I got very good at figuring out how far I actually was away from the subject. And I would make the 2 numbers match and everything would be in focus. Because it's hard to focus wearing glasses because you can't really get into the eyepiece and get a really. So you learn little tricks to make that a little easier. And I wish the Blackmagics would let me focus by distance.
Yeah, being able to figure out that stuff is a fucking art form.
Yeah.
I have never shot full manual in my life, and I know some people that are like mainstream production camera operators and just like, oh yeah, the professional focus pullers are just like they just know.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of it's just repetition. You do it so many times, you just become second nature to you.
Would say I'd like to be there one day, but I also don't want to be on mainstream set that much. And having to use a tape measure to be like, okay, it's this many feet to the stand-in.
Yeah.
Because I guess that's how you learn the craft on that shit. Have you played around with manual lenses at all? Or fully manual cine lenses?
I mean, all of our lenses are fully manual, or can be fully manual.
For sure, but...
And I've used them in full manual mode.
Well, and like with the follow focus and...
Yeah, I mean, we actually shot one... This was a while back. It was a feature called Heartbreaker versus Obscuro. And for some insane reason, we decided to shoot the whole thing on digital Bolex.
I don't even know what that is.
Do you know what a Bolex camera is?
I don't.
It's like the old, like...
Okay.
But not like the big Panavision cinema camera. This was like the old-fashioned home movie camera.
Like an 18 millimeter, 16 millimeter?
Like a 16 millimeter. It was the old style 16 millimeter cameras. Okay. And this company came out with a digital version of those that functioned pretty much the same way those old, all prime lenses. And for those of you who don't know what a prime lens, it's a fixed focal length lens. So you can't zoom in, zoom out. You zoom in, zoom out. And you have to adjust the focus accordingly. They do not have autofocus on them. And I'm glad we did it because it was a really good experience, but I would never do it again.
Seems like it would have to be an art form. I can't imagine just thinking of back in the day of shooting on actual film, having to pull focus and just be like, it has to be right.
Yeah.
It just has to be fucking right. Because you won't even know till you get to the dailies.
Yeah. You find out, the next day, or maybe if you're lucky, late that night, if everything you did that day worked or was a waste of time.
Yeah.
Plus, the whole idea of shooting porn like that, where you have to take the measuring tape out. It's like, anal scene. Excuse me. Oh, sorry. That was your butthole, wasn't it?
The idea of like people actually being able to shoot porn competently back in the film days is just kind of wild. Because porn's always had a shoestring budget. Yeah,
but I mean, back then it was, I think, more so than it is now. But even now, there's a lot of the people shooting porn worked in the mainstream industry, and porn was what they did to pay the bills between mainstream features.
True. But it's still, there's so much, because of the large budgets in mainstream, even then, you had so much more room for error.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you blow a whole shoot day on a mainstream film, it's going to suck. Heads are going to roll, but it's not the end of the fucking day. You blow a whole fucking day on a porn set, you may have just lost your whole feature.
Right.
That's wild to me. Wild.
But I mean, it can still happen now with digital.
Oh, it can, but if you're doing it properly, it's much less likely.
Until you get a corrupted hard drive.
For sure. This is why you should be backing up to the cloud as well.
Well, no, just in the recording process.
Oh, for sure. Well, for example, like if I'm shooting something besides this, I have an Atmos Ninja that I will mount to the top of that.
Okay.
So I'll be recording internally to SD and to the Atmos. So the likelihood of failure is pretty low. Plus, if I really super want to, this is a dual card slot And I can have it record to both card slots at the same time instead of auto swapping between card slots. So really, I have no excuse if I'm doing something like that. For the podcast, just have it shoot in one card just because I only have so many SD cards and I have a lot in the can. For someone who owns a cloud storage company, like, I'm running out of space very rapidly.
But you know what, guys? You should be able to get a good deal.
Well, I can put all my shit in the cloud. It just takes hours to upload. One episode of Now We Drink Raw is 200 to 300 gigs.
Okay.
It just takes time to upload that shit.
Yes.
And I still want to have a physical backup here because as much as I trust my own service, you should always have a actual physical backup in addition to a cloud backup. Like,
yes.
No matter who you are, what Dropbox Drive, whatever you're backing up to, you should always have redundant backups. And my physical backups are just running out of fucking space. Like, I have to expand my NAS. I have 40 terabytes in a NAS that is almost full.
Only 40?
Only 40.
We have, I think at last count, close to 120 terabytes, all on just portable drive.
That's insane.
And almost all of them are the Lacey Ruggeds. So there's just these metal toolbox, because we realized long ago when we were living in California that if something were to happen, we would need to be able to grab the drives. So went down to a hardware store, bought these cheap metal toolboxes. And we just keep, and I think we're up to 3 toolboxes worth of drives now. But you look at Dee's desk, and there might be 20 of these orange rectangles, just one up here, a couple over here, 3 sitting on the printer.
That is too chaotic for my blood.
Yeah.
And not to say I wasn't much of the same for quite a while. Like, I still have a bunch of portable drives that have content on them. I just, a couple of years ago, was like, I need to consolidate everything to a fucking NAS. And I foolishly was like, oh yeah. And Now We Drink, for the first 3 years of its existence, was audio only. And the first 3 years is like under a terabyte. And then from 2019 to 2021 was all shot in 1080p on a very low bitrate camcorder.
Okay.
So a full episode was maybe 25 gigs. Then I upgraded to the ZVE10s, but I was still shooting in 1080p, so it's like 100 gigs per episode. Now, with these fucking things, each camera is 100 gigs. And because I'm recording audio in 32-bit float now, like, oh, well, 6 to 10 gigs just for the audio.
Yeah, I was actually having this conversation last week with an engineer friend of mine. And we were talking about, because in broadcast trucks, there are these machines called digicarts. And they're digital audio cart machines. Anybody who worked in radio back up until like the mid 80s knows what a cart is. It's like a miniature 8-track. And you would put all your commercials, all your sound effects and everything on these carts. You'd slap them in the cart machine, hit play, and it would play. And then this company came up with a digital version of that. And they stored to zip disks.
Oh, God. I remember zip disks.
Those machines are still in operation.
How?
Apparently there's like some guy in Ohio or something who's got the world's remaining supply of zip disks in his basement, because that's the only thing I can imagine. And they came up with an SD card version of the machine, but a lot of the trucks still have the zip disk players in them.
That's got to be such slow read write. Those things are not fast.
No, but it's you come in at the beginning of the day, you pop your disc in, you hit transfer, and you go about your day. You don't have to sit there and watch it.
Makes me feel like, the U.S. missile silos are still running on floppies. Mm-hmm. It's much of the same vibes there.
But the conversation was basically that, like, my first computer, I could back up my entire hard drive on 2 floppy disks.
Oh, yeah. Oh, been a gamer since forever.
Mm-hmm.
Doom used to come on multiple 3.5 floppy disks. The whole game.
I remember games that used to come on one 3.5 floppy disk.
Oh, yeah. Me too. And those were, what, 3 megs?
Something like that.
Yeah. Hold on. I should know this.
But it's like now you take a picture with your phone and it's, 6 gigabytes.
Oh, sorry. 1.44 megabytes on 3.5 floppy.
Okay.
1.44 megabytes. Could you imagine how low resolution a picture would be at 1.44 megabytes?
And the fact that you would have you'd have multiple pictures on a floppy.
Oh man.
Remember billboard services?
Oh yeah. I ran a BBS in high school off my home PC.
Ah, okay.
I am that kind of tech nerd.
I just remember like finding a picture description that sounded interesting, hitting download, going to bed, and waking up in the morning to see what the picture actually was.
Oh, yeah. Getting pornography off of fucking BBS. Like, you weren't getting video. It was all stills.
Yeah.
And the stills took a while.
Literally overnight. You would start the download at 10 o'clock and you would wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning and it would be done. Yeah.
As a scummy high school kid, like I had a members only section of the BBS. I ran off my home PC that had porn that we had found around the internet on it. Just all sorts of wacky shit. Yeah, I was really active in the BBSs. Also, there was a lot of really fun text games we used to play on them.
Yeah. I remember text games. I remember those in high school because we had a computer in the college counselor's office that you could use. It was there because they had subscribed to some service where you could do college searches. So you put in, what part of the country you want, what you thought your major was going to be, and a couple other criteria. And it would spit out this list of colleges and universities that fit what you were looking for. And then the counselor would go over it with you and, just go, well, you should apply to this one. You should apply to, or these are the 10 that you and your folks should go visit. But a couple of us discovered that like hidden on that, and I don't know exactly how it worked back then, but there were a handful of games that we could play, but they were all text-based games.
The kids today will never know.
No.
Could you imagine handing a text-based game to some Zoomer? I'd be like, what the fuck is this? We used to have so much fun with them.
Oh, yeah.
In the later days of the BBS, I don't know how late you got into BBSing or if you did any real gaming on them.
I've never been a gamer. My gaming kind of ended with the Atari 2600.
Okay.
Mainly because I didn't have access to it when I was in college. And then when I got out, I was working freelance. And I made a conscious decision that I was not going to get into this thing. Because as a freelancer, you only get paid when you work. Which means you have to go out and find work. You have to go out and do jobs. And if I knew if I got into gaming that I would spend not enough time going out and finding jobs and doing jobs and too much time on the couch playing games.
I need my clients to turn off the podcast for like 30 seconds. I know that pain all too well. Unfortunately, Marvel Rivals has eaten a lot of my time in the last month and a half, and it's probably not healthy. Clients, you can come back now. I've been working on your projects diligently. You're probably better off. Yeah. Gaming is. Whew, yeah. It can definitely be a time sink.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fun time sink at times, but it's still like, oh, I should really be doing this productive, redundant, monotonous thing at times. And it's like, but I could be playing a video game real quick and that'll give me a dopamine hit. And, well, the dopamine hit sometimes wins.
Yes.
So good on you for knowing.
Mm-hmm. It was that, and I wouldn't watch television before 5 o'clock.
Okay. So you're like done with your day?
Yeah. Well, it basically prevented me from, like, again, sitting on the couch all afternoon watching stupid television.
But the price is right.
No, it isn't.
Come on, Bob Barker's Beauties. Daytime television's mind rot anyways.
Yes. But, and had this discussion online with, on one of the industry, on the industry XBiz board about, can't remember what topic got it off, but I created my my own version of a TiVo before TiVo became a thing, with a pair of VCRs and a stack of VHS tapes. And every afternoon or morning before I went to work or before I went out to I would go and I would set the timed records for all the stuff I wanted to watch, put in a tape, and it would record for me. And then I would watch it the next night without commercials, so I could watch them faster. And I had strips of white tape that I would put on the boxes, and I would write down what all the shows on that tape were. And then as I watched them, I'd cross them off. And once they were all crossed off, I would, this thing called degaussing, which nobody probably here knows what that is. But you're basically taking this large electric magnet and you hold the tape and you take the magnet thing, and it's a block with a handle, and you push the button and you run it around like 10 times, and then you run it backwards 10 times, and that erases the tape.
Why not just record over it?
Better quality.
Well, for sure. For sure. I just recorded over it in the 90s.
But it also gave me blank tape, so I wouldn't accidentally like get into. It's like you'd know where things ended because it would stop. And
no, it's the right way to do it. I just back in the VHS days did not know of such things, so it was literally just, oh well, I've burned through that tape. Nothing was more awkward than, because in the 90s, definitely would tape. If I spent the money to buy pay-per-view porn from the cable company, I would tape it.
I hate to admit it, but I actually recorded stuff off of Laserdisc to hang on to it for multiple viewings.
And nothing was more awkward than, like, I think it was like a Saturday morning cartoon tape that I had taped over. So it like went from like the X-Men into all of a sudden just like a classic vivid scene. It was just like, well, I guess I've grown up a bit. Whoops. So using your method probably would have been a little better.
Probably would have.
Probably. It reminds me of the efforts I went through in the late 90s to watch porn, because it wasn't really available like on the internet. We'll just order it, pay-per-view from the cable system. And then my father was like, what the fuck are these bills? And eventually locked it down where you had to have a passcode to be able to order any pay-per-views.
Okay.
So I would call the cable company, impersonate him, give them his social security number to be able to order it. It's like, fuck.
See, we didn't have a cable when I was living with my parents. They got cable after I left. But it was funny because I started working in television, so I learned some basic broadcast engineering stuff. So every time I came back to visit after they got cable, they would have me sleeping in a different room because they knew that I wanted to watch TV and talk on the phone or go online, back then with dial-up. So whatever room I was in, I would put a cable line in there and a phone line in there. So after a couple of visits, every room on the upstairs of the house had phone lines and cable in it. And then several years after that, they had to call the cable company in to do some work. And the guy looks at what I've done. And it's like, we didn't do this, did we? And it's like, no.
Wasn't the proper fittings. That's the easiest way to tell.
Well, no, I use things like distribution amplifiers and proper splitters and stuff like that.
Well, when I actually was a cable installer, that was the number one way, though, was to tell if someone else had done the job, is they weren't using the right fittings.
Okay.
Because least Comcast, well, it was AT&T at the time when I was doing it, but became Comcast, had proprietary compression fittings for, any of the jacks for the cable. So it's also like, if you opened up a wall plate and it wasn't the proper compression fittings, it's like, oh, someone else did this.
Yeah, I don't think it was proprietary so much as they got them cheap.
Well,
they bought them in bulk.
That's entirely possible, but it wasn't something that you could go buy at a Home Depot.
No.
But I still have the compression tools somewhere in my tool bag for my couple of years as a high-speed internet installer / cable guy.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've re-ended coax, but I think I could still do it if I had to.
I could still do it if I had to. I super never want to ever again. Fuck, that was not fun. Especially being in Midwestern attics in the middle of summer, fucking measuring and drilling and dropping it. I hate wall fishing. Wall fishing has always been a nightmare for me.
Yep.
Never been good at it. It's like, oh, you want to wall fish? Fuck. I'm going to be on this job for hours. And I'm going to get frustrated, getting caught on some, especially in the Midwest, like fucking the insulation in the wall. We get caught on some fucking insulation. Or the wall, the fucking worst. Do not miss that shit in the least bit.
We were lucky. My parents' house had a utility column in the middle of the house that I could work off of.
Nice. Getting PTSD from all the memories of just these random fucking houses. Just like, you sure I can't just staple that line to the floorboards and we'll just call it a day? You sure? Nope.
I never wanted to be a professional installer.
Oh, I didn't either. I fell into it.
I did it to help myself, and I did it for a couple of my friends, but doing it full time, I never would have.
It's one of the various gigs in my life I just fell into, and I only did it for, in the grand scheme of things, like 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, like what, 2000. Yeah, somebody of mine talked me into taking a job installing DSL for what was it was Ameritech at the time.
Okay.
So that was my first low voltage wiring experience. And pushing Cat 3 and Cat 5 is worse than trying to push coax through a fucking wall because it just doesn't have the tension.
Right.
Fucking the worst.
Especially install coax.
Yeah.
It was that heavy, that thick, waxy coated stuff that was real stiff. It didn't bend.
Yeah, like you can force that through some insulation. You cannot. Cat 5 will just mush.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there for a year and a half till the company went under. And then like a year and a half later, I ended up working for what ended up being a Comcast contractor for a while, doing high-speed internet and just cable installations.
Okay.
That was not a ton of fun, especially climbing poles in the middle of like Chicago winters.
Ooh, no.
And they're like, oh, we don't care it's winter. Like, yeah, you got to get up on the pole and do an aerial drop to the house.
But then again, when we moved a couple of years ago, we wanted to move our satellite service as well, and the installer would not install it for us because it was too hot in the attic. He refused to go in there.
Oh, good for him. Shit.
But we wanted the TV.
Well, I get that. My stupid 20-year-old ass would have gone in there because I didn't know any better to be like, no, this is unsafe. And of course, your bosses never tell you like, hey, you probably shouldn't go into unsafe. They're just like, make sure you hydrate. Oh, yeah. A lot of unsafe attics. A lot of just dumb crawl spaces. Places that like, oh, hey, those are probably poisonous spiders.
The thing is, the house is already cabled, but he refused. The company policy was they had to run all their own cable.
Yep.
They couldn't use existing cable. If he had just connected to what was there, he would have been done in 10 minutes.
I know. Everyone, because I installed satellite too at one point.
Yeah.
So like everyone was like, no, you got to run fresh lines. Like every major cable company is also like, you got to change the fittings if they work or not at every fucking outlet that you're installing to. It's like, why am I going to shorten the length on this cable? A lot of times there's not excess slack here.
Yeah.
You have to cut the old fitting off. It's not like I can Screw it.
Well, I mean, technically you can pry it off, but that's a pain in the ass.
Yeah. I've never done that once in my fucking life.
I've never done it intentionally, but I have had them where if you give them a good yank, they just pop off. And
it's true, but still, when you're dealing with very limited runs,
yeah,
why the fuck am I going to mess with the length?
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm going to end up having to put a barrel on it to extend it. And it's like, that's worse than not replacing the...
Yeah, because you get signal loss.
Yeah.
Never want to barrel anything.
No. 100% no. Oh, God, you're making me remember having to figure out, like, the decimal loss on the footage on coax. Like, okay, the run is this many, like, so I'm going to lose this many decibels. I'm going to lose this much at this. I'm going to lose 3.5 at the splitter. I'm going to...
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God, why? Why are you making me remember this, Jimmy? Why?
I'm sorry. Let's change the subject.
It's been 20 years. I've been clean. I've been free.
Now it's all wireless.
Which is not necessarily better.
No, not at all.
Like, oh, no, it'll just have fucking interference from fucking everything.
Mm-hmm.
And in an apartment like this, all your neighbors may be on the same fucking Wi-Fi signals.
Well, it's not just Wi-Fi. We're at the point now where our internet, like coming to the house, is wireless.
Really?
We have an antenna on the roof that grabs the signal, and then it cables down into the house.
How bad's the latency on that?
It's not too... I mean, the speed's fantastic.
Well, I know when I was doing satellite internet installation, the speeds themselves were pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
The latency was bad. The ping was fucking bad.
Okay.
Because this is also 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be dead soon. 20 years. Because the signal having to bounce from the satellite to space and then back down added massive latency.
Well, no, these are fiber to a distribution tower.
Oh, okay.
And then it goes from the tower, and our house is actually a neighborhood hub.
Interesting.
So it goes from the tower to our house. We grab it off of there, but then our house also retransmits it to all our neighbors who sign up for it.
Is there any data privacy concerns with that?
I don't think so.
I hope not. Just seems wild to like, oh, hey, we're distributing to the neighbors.
It's the same as if it were cabled.
True.
Because you're all connecting to a cable hub.
Yeah, but then, I mean,
it's just wireless.
But generally, someone's home isn't the distribution point for that.
No, it's a box. The only reason our home is the distribution point is the height.
Ah.
So whereas with wired cable, it would be a box in a manhole somewhere.
Yep.
For this, because you need to catch the signal coming off being beamed off the tower, you need elevation.
Gotcha.
So we're the tallest house on the block. So we got selected to be the hub.
Lucky you guys.
Yeah.
Hey, can you be our tool for capitalism for no additional compensation, please?
No, there actually is additional compensation.
Oh, really?
We get a discount on our service.
Oh, in that case, fuck yeah.
And I thought about it, and it's like, we're the hub. Anything goes wrong, they're fixing us first because they have to, because that's how they fix everybody else.
It's actually not horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vegas is a weird situation with their internet because last time I looked at moving back, it was just like, oh, can I find anything that's comparable speeds that's not going to cost me a fucking arm and a leg? Your options are not great. At least they weren't last I checked.
We were paying almost 200, and now we're paying 35.
Well, that's a good fucking deal.
Yeah.
I'll have to ask you.
And the speeds are comparable.
That's awesome.
Actually, a little better with the new one.
Yeah, because it's Cox is the cable company out there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I looked at Cox's plans. They're like, oh, that will be well over 200 for comparable speeds to what I'm getting in LA.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't really want to move back to Vegas, first and foremost, but I also don't want to move back and be like, oh, hey, it didn't end up being that much cheaper. Because things like electric and internet being probably quite a bit more.
I mean, electric isn't, but it is. Your base cost is cheaper, but you use more because of the heat.
Yeah.
So that's one of our projects for the coming year is to add solar and get rid of that cost.
No, it's the move.
Yeah.
Some of my other friends in Vegas have done that. And it turns out it's illegal to be off the grid in Vegas. You have to still be connected to the grid.
Yeah, but if you have surplus,
Yeah, you sell it back to them.
you sell it back to the grid. So I'm okay with being connected to the grid because I can sell my surplus back.
Yeah, my friends that have solar, they're killing it. Like they'll run the air conditioning cold all summer long and still not have to pay.
Our biggest problem is we've got the world's largest doggy door. So because of the size of our dogs, actually it started with our rental house, and we couldn't just cut a hole in the door because it's a rental. So it's like, all right, what are we going to do? Well, we can't leave the door open because then it's just like the air is just going out. And
Well, you're also asking yourself to get robbed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we never leave it open. Would leave it open when we weren't there anyway.
Yeah, home invasions never happen in Vegas.
Who's going to invade a home with 4 dogs?
There's never crazy desperate people in Vegas. Never.
But we figured this out. So you're familiar with commercial refrigeration units?
Yeah.
You know, the PVC drapes that they have?
Yeah.
We've got one of those on our back door.
Nice.
It's not 100%, efficient, but it cuts down considerably, and the dogs come and go as they choose.
Yeah, that's definitely better than just having the door open.
They seem to like it. And we're cleaning up a lot less, so.
Win-win.
Yes. That's the thing about housebreaking. You have to give them the opportunity to succeed. You can't get upset if you make it impossible for them to get out when they need to get out.
No, for sure. But sometimes they're spiteful animals. Speaking of Vegas, I was house sitting for some of the friends with the solar, and they had a fairly new puppy. And this poor bastard, while I was sitting there, decided to just piss on the floor in front of the doggy door. Walk to the doggy door, like, oh, you gotta go, buddy? And he just, they're like, really? Right there?
Oh, we can top that.
I'm sure.
Our dog Coney, she was a lab chow mix, little end table, short legs, built like a linebacker. But she was spiteful.
Oh.
And if she was mad at you, she would let you know it by sneaking off, going to the middle of the bed, and peeing there.
You're a saint. I would have been like, well, it's time for you to be put down.
No. You just make it so she's never mad at you.
I have not had the ability to do that with anyone in my life, so I don't know if I could do that with an animal I can't even reason with.
Or if she is mad, at least not to the extent that she feels the need to communicate it in that manner.
I don't trust my own skills in that situation. I would rather just avoid it. But also, that's why I don't have animals or children, because I can't be responsible for them.
Oh, I think you need a dog.
No. I can barely.
I think everybody needs a dog.
Oh, no, I love dogs. I love other people's dogs. I just don't want to be responsible for it. I can barely keep me alive.
Valid point.
Like, why I don't have children? Because I would have to bury it in the backyard at some point.
That's frowned upon.
What, I'm just going to leave it rotting in its crib?
You're supposed to keep them alive.
That's why I'm not doing it.
Okay.
I see the problem. I am avoiding the problem.
Okay.
I don't know why this is a hard concept to grasp. Plus, finding a place to bury it would be a real problem around here. It's like,
yeah, it's kind of a dense neighborhood. You don't have a lot of farmland.
yeah, just like unmarked grave in Griffith Park. Like,
I'm sure there are a couple of them up there.
oh, I'm sure. But that would be the worst part. The coyote finds the remains of my infant.
Is that a femur? Why does that dog have a femur?
Yeah, they really frown upon that.
Yeah.
Let's just avoid the whole situation. I will just be negligent to myself.
Yes. I'm just having sudden recollections of Joe Spilatro and the Midwestern cornfield, but anybody wondering what I'm talking about, see the movie Casino.
Yeah.
It's based on a true story.
When apparently more recent evidence has shown that he was most likely killed in a basement in Bensonhurst or Bensonville. Sorry, Bensonhurst is New York. Bensonville is suburban Chicago, and then moved to the cornfield in Northwest Indiana. It wasn't like they didn't beat him to death and bury him alive.
Ah.
Yeah, the Chicago outfit was wild.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely wild.
One of my favorite things about living in Vegas.
All
the Mob Museum.
All the shit that came out during the Family Secrets trial was just like crazy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Did you keep up with any of that?
Oh, not really.
The FBI, the Family Secrets trials, when the FBI like actually brought RICO charges against the Chicago outfit. Like,
Okay.
I don't know if Tony Accardo was alive during that, but like the nominal head of the Chicago outfit forever never like saw a day in jail.
Of course.
This is a guy who, as a like child, was a driver for Capone.
Oh, it's like Capone killed, what, 18 people? He served maybe 10 years?
He did get neurosyphilis, so.
Well, that's just poor planning on his part.
It is.
Then again, it was a different time.
Yeah, rubbers were for sailors.
If he had a lot of rubbers, he could have gotten off Alcatraz.
It's true. It's true. But, you know, I don't understand how you go away for tax evasion. Just tell them how much money you're making. The IRS doesn't care if you make it legally or not. Just tell them.
It's that the government is the adversary mentality.
I don't know. I would just pay more taxes and not go to prison.
Yeah, but you have to give some indication of where the money is coming from.
Open up a legitimate business or two. Not the biggest deal in the world, especially in those days when it's all paper records.
That's true.
Like, oh, hey, my bakery does a ton of business.
10,000 crawlers.
Yeah, it's not even
and a barrel or two.
It's 100% like why you would have a restaurant or a bakery or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's a cash business, and it's not like you're actually holding inventory.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, laundry.
Yeah. Coin op laundry. Oh.
Or just like a dry cleaner. How can the government prove how many items were brought in to be?
Well, I guess the way you would prove that is how much detergent you ordered, you know, how much cleaning materials you ordered,
right,
and how much was used.
Right.
So you would part of your job would be disposing of cleaning materials.
Yeah. Which you sell basically resell to legitimate laundry dealers at, you know, laundromats at a discount.
Oh, you're the mob. Sell it at retail. What are they going to do about it?
Yeah.
Like, you buy from us now. Well, yeah, that would be the right move. It's like, oh, not only do we own a dry cleaner, we also own a distribution for the materials.
Mm-hmm.
And you buy from us. And you're going to buy this extra. And we're going to put on our books that we bought it.
There you go.
Why am I coming up with old-timey criminal enterprises on this week's episode?
I don't know. Because the 22-year-old porn girls don't think about things like this?
Fair. The criminal enterprises are very different.
Yes.
Allegedly. They're
allegedly.
Not implying that my guests are criminals. Not all of them.
Not. They're in a morally ambiguous area.
Well, moral and legal are two separate things.
Exactly.
I don't think the majority of people I know do anything morally wrong.
True.
Maybe on an interpersonal level.
Yeah, morally was a bad choice of word there. I guess legally is the...
oh, for sure.
Starting with the fact that adult content production is only technically legal in 2 states.
3. California, Nevada, New Hampshire.
Hasn't been ruled in Nevada.
There's a state Supreme Court opinion that was issued about it.
Okay.
Because I thought that as well, and then I went and looked.
Nobody ever mentions that.
Yeah. It was something I Googled, like, because someone's like, no, it's legal in Nevada. I'm like, California, New Hampshire. And then I went and Googled it during a podcast, and I was like, oh, the state Supreme Court, without anyone bringing a suit or bringing it to trial, issued an opinion based on the Freeman ruling in California.
Huh.
So, 3 states.
Okay.
Though, since there was no actual court case that brought them to bring that opinion, I don't know how that works.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's after it lost in California and New Hampshire, none of the other states wanted to take it to court because if it lost there, then it's legal.
Right.
At least this way, it's a gray area.
Well, and Florida, over the years, has charged people.
Yeah. But it's usually on a prostitution charge.
Oh, yeah, it's all pandering and prostitution charges. The silly part, because it's all about the intent. You know, people are like, oh, well, if you had a camera, it's legal. It's like, no, the intent with pornography is to create an artistic work.
Yes.
It is not sexual gratification for any of the parties involved. Though that may happen, that is not the intent that you're spending the money on.
Yeah.
Where with prostitution, the intent is someone is paying for sexual gratification.
Right.
Intent matters, folks. It's a difference between murder and manslaughter. It is. If I mean to kill you, that's murder.
True.
If I fucked up and accidentally killed you, manslaughter.
We're back on killing again.
Well, last time was negligent. This is, you know.
No, I think the Spilotros were intentional.
Oh, no, that was definitely intentional. Brought too much attention on themselves.
Yes.
The hole in the wall gang. I will fall down mob rabbit holes, and especially with the Chicago outfit, because apparently the Chicago outfit historically ran differently than like the Five Families did in New York.
Right.
They'd let anyone operate as long as they kicked up. They didn't care if you're...
Well, starting with the fact that it wasn't Italian.
Well, by the later days it was. Like, the early days of the outfit, no, they're Jews, there's Italians.
Yeah.
By the later, like the modern Chicago outfit, it was all Italians. But they didn't care if associates were anything.
Right.
As long as they kicked up.
Yeah.
You could definitely be an associate. But also, like, a couple associates broke into the boss's house and robbed him because they were upset about having to kick up to him. And then they found them all dead in trunks, beaten to death. Wild.
Yes.
Wild shit. And just things that, the kind of crime that you can't do anymore because the state of electronics and modern surveillance. You can't get away with shit like that.
Well, it's also like, you know, how many people run numbers now when every state or like 40 states have lotteries? What's the point of running numbers?
Yeah. Well, how many states have legal online sports betting?
Exactly.
Can't run a sports book. And if you're not in one of the states, it's just VPN.
Yeah.
What's left for the mob? Loan sharking?
Loan sharking, protection.
But all those things, like, it's so much easier to get information on people.
Yeah.
Though I heard stories, going back to crypto and shit like that, that the mob would run like pump and dump schemes for both stocks, like penny stocks and crypto, like small coins and shit like that.
Okay.
And the mob would organize pump and dump schemes. This is like, we've gotten into financial crimes. All right. However you kick up, I guess.
And drugs are still a thing.
Oh, for sure. Foolishly. Why do we still have a federal prohibition on drugs? Why?
I have no idea. It should be legal. It should be regulated for quality.
Yeah, and tax the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
Colorado is the best example of like, oh, hey, once Colorado legalized marijuana, they had a surplus of funds. Denver became a destination people were traveling to to smoke marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't you do this with other drugs? Anecdotally, New York City has a couple sites where people can go shoot, shoot up.
There are a couple of places around the country that do that.
I know for at least on the reporting at the time of the reporting, the New York ones had never had an overdose in it.
Right.
People are going to get high if they want to get high.
Mm-hmm.
Why not fucking let them? It's their bodies. You criminalize the shit. That's when crime happens with it.
Exactly.
Just let them. They're going to do it anyways. Why not let them do it safely and let the taxpayer benefit from it? No, hey, I'll happily let my roads get built on people's heroin.
Yeah. Or at the very least, let the taxpayer not suffer for it.
For sure.
Reduction in crime, reduction in accidental deaths.
But the problem is also you would then all of a sudden have a bunch of legitimate millionaires in Mexico, and no one in the federal government really wants that.
But it could help the immigration problem.
I mean, it would definitely reduce violence in Mexico.
Yeah, exactly. It would improve the Mexican economy.
I mean, you could legally go work the marijuana fields. Or the opium fields.
If you can make a decent living down there, you don't have to come up here to make a decent living.
Well, I don't want to get into our current political situation. I just want to say,
please don't.
Yeah, this is a country of immigrants. No one is fucking from here.
Yeah, because of the land bridge. You're right.
Well, okay. Besides the indigenous people, no one's from here.
Yeah, and even the indigenous people came over at some point.
Indeed. But not counting the indigenous people, no one's fucking from here.
Yeah.
At most, 5 generations back, 6 at very most.
Oh, it can go back further than that, but I get your point.
Yeah. So what the fuck's the problem with letting people come here and try to make a life for themselves?
Exactly.
And we're all going to be fucked by automation eventually anyways. We should be worried about the AI coming for our jobs more than someone trying to get a better life for them and their family.
Hopefully I'll be dead before robot porn becomes a thing.
It's already here. I met companies at XBiz that were trying to, at least they claim to, train AI models based on an actual performer.
Okay.
To do virtual sex panthering essentially. So shit's here.
That's just wrong.
Oh, it's wrong, but I'm sure once the printing press came out, people were like, that's wrong too. Adapt or die.
But porn is about human interaction.
Well, it'll be the interaction between a human prompting it and the human masturbating into it.
It's just not the same.
Well, I agree it's not the same. But is the consumer going to pay for it?
Some will. I think at some point it will become a selling point that you're using actual humans.
Made with real humans. That reminds me of in the early aughts, it was either Wicked or Vivid, rolled out a couple DVDs that had on the box, shot on film.
Okay.
As a selling point. This was shot on film. It's going to be like that eventually. Made with real humans.
On the fetish side, authenticity is a huge selling point. If they think you're faking stuff in any, if you're using camera angles, if you're using makeup, if you're, doing any kind of trickery in the film, then they're disappointed and you lose sales. They want real people on people.
Well, that may be the final frontier of people on people contact. Because if you're a major company and you can get as many sales from just prompting an AI model, why would you pay 2 people to fuck? Why would you pay a crew to make it? Because after all, this is a business.
Yeah. It's just, I think it's going to come down to the cost of the AI. Because AI isn't cheap.
For now, give it time.
They've got to come up with a solution for the energy use, because that's the cost.
But if some other data center is absorbing that cost, or, hey, welcome to ALO's solar farm. Instead of having a giant studio in Vegas, they just have a solar farm and a solar and server farm.
Hey, they're shutting down that one just over the state line. Maybe they can pick it up and keep it going.
Turn it into just a porn AI server farm.
Hey, Microsoft is reopening 3 Mile Island.
What the fuck?
So there are 2 reactors at 3 Mile. One where the famous incident occurred. Yeah. The other one was just shot down due to lack of needed capacity. Microsoft is paying to have that reactor restarted exclusively for Microsoft to power a server farm.
That's insane. That's fucking
insane. That is the amount of energy that our current business model for AI and computer generation and all that, server farms, and that's what it requires. Yeah. And it's right now it's not sustainable.
Give it time. It may get more. I'm sure that'll be how it goes down the road, is trying to figure out how to make it more energy efficient.
Yeah.
It will be a wild frontier. And if they can make it cost less than actually making 2 people fuck and actually having to hire a crew, they're going to do it. If there's a return on investment on it, it's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Time will tell on all that shit. Jimmy, I hate to do it because I was supposed to have been out of here and on something else about a half hour ago.
I'm sorry about that.
Hey, I'm the one who didn't pull the plug. It's all good. We got to do this again sooner than later because it's too fucking long.
Yes, we will.
But before we get you out of here, let's call last call. Where can they find you on the things? Where can they find the films, all of it?
Okay, they can find me. I'm still on X just because everybody hasn't moved yet. So
in time.
They're slowly coming over. So X and Blue Sky at Fetish Director. And the content is at severesexfilms.com, at the Severe Sex Partner Channel on kink.com. Like I said, we will be launching on AP Clips within the next week or 2 for both Jimmy Broadway and Severe Sex. And we are on all the major VOD platforms: Adult Empire, Hot Movies, GameLink, Sugar, ABN. Search for Severe Sex Films and buy our content.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Pleasure as always.
Yes, it was.
Again soon.
Thank you for the tasty glass of Weller Special Reserve.
My absolute pleasure. Until next week, drink up, motherfuckers.